your business ready for a full electric van? If it is, and you're looking for a compact one, then Chinese maker Maxus wants you to factor in this model, the eDeliver 3, into your thinking. It can potentially run for up to 151 miles on a single charge, quite enough for urban deliveries, and is more affordable, better equipped and better warrantied than its established mainstream brand battery-powered rivals.
If the motor industry is serious about reducing pollution in our cities, it needs to put as much effort into electrification in vans as it does in cars, particularly when it comes to the more compact LCVs that account for most sales. With many of the established van brands proving slow off the mark in this regard, it's been left to a segment newcomer, Chinese maker Maxus, to show what can be done with this model, the eDeliver 3. Prior to the launch of this van, the Renault-Nissan alliance had the full electric compact van market to itself, with two battery-powered LCVs, these days known as the Renault Kangoo E-Tech and the Nissan Townstar Electric. The Maxus E Deliver 3 easily undercuts both on price and specification. But can it offer other attributes strong enough to justify business customers committing to an unknown mark in this segment? Well, you'll need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test to find out. So what's it like? Well, quite old school for an EV. You're treated to analog instruments, a manual handbrake, and an old-fashioned key start. Twist the fob, and when the green ready signal appears in the instrument binnacle, you're good to go. The eDeliver 3 certainly spears away from rest in the way early electric vehicles used to, but it runs out of puff quite quickly. Rest to 62 miles an hour takes between 11 and 12 seconds, depending on the variant you choose, and the modest top speed is 75 miles an hour. Still, all variants have 255 newton meters of pulling power, so there's plenty of mid-range grunt should you need to dart into a gap in the traffic. There's a choice of electric powertrains, either a 35 kilowatt-hour package or the larger 50.23 kilowatt-hour battery pack we have here. You want to know about driving range? Well, the entry-level 35 kilowatt-hour variant has a maximum claimed WLTP rated range of 99 miles, rising to 141 in the city. This test van's larger capacity 50.23 kilowatt-hour battery improves these readings to 151 miles or 213 in the city. To get near those figures, you'll have to regularly engage the provided Eco Drive mode. The alternative is a regular setting. There are 3 selectable energy recovery modes as well. Across the range, the brake towing capacity is up to 1,200 kilograms and the turning radius is 5.87 meters. The curb weight at 1,425 kilos is quite substantial for a small van, and you certainly feel that in the way this eDeliver 3 crashes over bumps and speed humps like a go-kart. Offhand, we can't really recall testing a more stiffly sprung vehicle of any kind, or any EV with a louder electric motor than this one. You'd immediately recognise this as an electric van, perhaps even a Chinese electric van. The blanked-off grille, the angular front-end styling and the way the large headlights smear back into the front wings all suggest that. In profile, the eDeliver 3 has a squat, solid look with chunky styling and a rather interesting V-shaped crease that spears forward into an arrow shape across the front doors. As we filmed, only this short wheelbase body style was being offered at 4,555mm in length, but Maxus does offer a long wheelbase version in other markets. At the rear, Maxus parent company SAIC Motor is highlighted. There's a properly high-level brake light and you get the usual vertical tail lights. How might an electric van this inexpensive be in the cabin? Well, let's take a look. You won't be expecting tactile plastics around this interior, and you don't get them. But it feels modern enough behind the wheel and not too bargain basement. There's a two-tone dashboard, a stitched steering wheel, and a large fascia-mounted EV-branded gear selector dial. Piano black trim adorns the dash, which looks smart but does readily attract dust. The white stitch seats look quite smart as well. There are two individual chairs rather than the usual bench seat. And the driver's seat turns out to be actually quite comfortable with plenty of adjustment. Everything seems built to last. This feels like a cabin that could withstand the rigours of a hard-working life. It's certainly an electric van from the old school, with a turnkey starter, a manual handbrake and an analogue instrument cluster. And that cluster has a digital readout on the left with time, temperature, range and odometer readings. Then to the right of the central speedometer dials, a power meter and a battery charge meter. More modern looking is the 8-inch touchscreen infotainment screen in the centre of the fascia. Shortcut home, music, applications, phone and vehicle sections run along the bottom of the monitor. And the home screen, reflecting the current fashion, is divided into customisable widget sections. We've got radio, phone and smartphone mirroring here. The display can support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Away from screens, there's a multi-function steering wheel with rake adjustment, and unusually for a van, you get a passenger airbag and heated seats as standard. It's certainly a practical feeling cabin with its tough plastics and wipe clean dimpled floor. And there are lots of spaces to store things with big door bins and a shallow tray, along with twin cup holders between the seats, behind which is space for the tyre sealant kit. There's no glove box, you get this open cubby instead, but there is a small cubby area by your right knee, card slots to the right of the centre screen, and ticket clips in the sun visors. A further small cubby resides below the 12-volt port and the USB-A slot in the centre of the dash. Prices for the eDeliver 3 are pitched from £34,000 excluding VAT, but that falls to £29,000 once the approved UK government electric vehicle grant has been subtracted from the asking price, making this one of the best value all-electric vans on the market. It significantly undercuts its three main rivals, the Renault Kangoo E-Tech, the Mercedes E-Citan and the Nissan Townstar Electric. The eDeliver 3 is available in two body styles, a short wheelbase panel van or a platform chassis. And there are two battery output options, either 35 or 50.23 kilowatt hours. Whichever eDeliver 3 model you choose, it'll come with plenty of equipment. You can tick off electric windows and an immobiliser, a multi-function steering wheel, rear parking sensors, a reversing camera and powered mirrors. Also included are heated front seats, air conditioning and two drive modes. And there's also an 8-inch centre dash screen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto smartphone mirroring. Plus, as you'd expect, there's a driver's airbag and a front passenger airbag as well. And a stainless steel cargo area floor, plus ESC stability control and the usual assistance for braking and traction control. Alloy wheels are optional. A practical load area is, of course, fundamental in any LCV, and the eDeliver 3 meets the class standard in this regard. Now, the rear doors don't have the usual stays to initially click them into a 90-degree position, but they do open wide for easy loading. Let's get to the figures. Now, with the panel van variants, the width of the load compartment is 1,665 millimetres, narrowing to 1,220 between the wheel arches. This single short wheelbase variant offered in our market can offer 4.8 cubic metres of capacity. The floor height is 1,330 millimetres and the cargo area length is 2,180 millimetres. Payloads vary between 865 and 945 kilograms for this eDeliver 3 short wheelbase variant. And here, as you can see, the load area has been fully ply-lined and a tough cargo area floor surface installed. The width of the single offside sliding door is 710 millimetres and the sliding door height is 1,230. There are 4 floor-mounted tough black tie-down eyes plus a bright central roof light, and there's a heavy-duty bulkhead but unfortunately no incorporated flap within it that would allow you to push longer items into the cab. So they might have to go outside. The eDeliver 3 can take up to 75 kilograms on its roof in this short wheelbase form. What about charging? Well, Maxus says that the 35 kilowatt hour battery pack can be fully recharged in 6 hours using a standard AC charging station, with the bigger 50.23 kilowatt hour unit taking 8 hours using the same kind of charger. When plugged into a DC fast charger, if you can find one, both power packs should be able to recharge to 80% in about 45 minutes. Energy consumption is rated at 24.36 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres for the 35 kilowatt hour version, or 23.63 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres for the 50.23 kilowatt hour variant. Finally, if you're worried about buying from an unfamiliar brand, we'll tell you that all Maxus vehicles come with a 5-year warranty or 125,000 miles of cover, and also include 5 years roadside assistance cover as standard. It's certainly getting easier to make the switch to a full electric vehicle, and Maxus has lowered the price point for entry into the BEV van sector with this eDeliver 3 and offers a high value package that many businesses won't take the trouble to check out. Those that do should find lots to like here. We'd ideally like to have seen a longer operating range, but that will come as battery technology improves. And for the time being, what's on offer should meet the needs of most urban-based businesses that feel the need for a full electric van. There's pretty much everything you need here, and not much you don't, as always, with Maxus.